Hello again, everybody. And this time we're going to look again at this text about these Chilean miners in response to a question like this. Yeah. So last time we thought about a level 2 answer. This time we're going to think about how to raise that to a level 3 answer. And what I've just put in front of you here is the level 2 method on the left and this time the level 3 method on the right. So if you just look at those descriptions, you've got a sense, haven't you, that there are similarities, but there's just a little bit more. There's just a little bit more that we want from you if you're going to raise your level from 2 to 3. Now look at the first one. The first pairings, they're quite similar, aren't they? It's minding the gap. So you mind the gap again, but what you've got to do this time is link choices of language to each of these aspects of the text. All right, so it's a bit more sophisticated. And then what we've got to do in this with the second one is we've got to interpret vocabulary used to represent all sorts of things that are in the text. It depends what the text is, right? So we've got to look for words. We've got to look for words and we've got to find words and then we've got to write about the words and we've got to use a bit of terminology as well, as we'll see, to help us go into level 3. And then the third thing we do is we think about what person the text is written in and just look into the details of how that's being used by the writer. Okay, so hopefully you'll see from that there is definitely a bit of a jump from level 2 to level 3. And once again, a bit like the level 2 approach, I would make notes. Make notes like this first, read the text, have a good think, and then put your answer together. So now what I'm going to do is walk through 3 paragraphs showing how you do each one of these things on the left. So let's have a look at this. So this is an answer to, of course, the Chilean miners text. And keep linking it back in your own mind to the level 2 answer and recognise the extra things that are going on here in order to achieve that high level. The genre of the text is a newspaper report, so I've identified the genre. Features of this genre are shown in the use of an attention-grabbing declarative headline suggested by the verb rescued and the use of a photograph to anchor an important aspect of the text. Phoenix X, the capsule that helped to rescue the miners. So what I've done here is I've identified 2 aspects of the genre of newspaper report writing and I have linked it to something about the language, haven't I? The declarative, the verb, and I've mentioned the photograph. A photograph is a kind of feature, isn't it? It's what we call graphology. And then I carry on. Furthermore, as is common to most newspaper reports, the main purpose is to inform its audience of the Chilean miners and their ordeal. So I said this in level 2, didn't I? In the level 2 answer, I said the same thing. But I've got to do that a little bit more and link it to some language. And that's what I do. The informative language is shown, for instance, when the writer includes details of what the conditions were like underground. The writer uses adjectives such as dark, small and sweltering to inform the audience of how oppressive the shelter was. I've linked the audience to some language in the text, I've added a quote, and then finally I've dropped in something about the noun phrase difficulty breathing, emphasising the dreadful conditions. So that is now a level 3 response to the gap of the text. This is an example of interpreting vocabulary. So what I've done here is I've had to find something in the text, and I've focused on this minor Mario Sepulveda. And I've just tried to think about this person and how they are represented. And I've said they're negative in their feelings about being trapped. And what I've done is I've found two parts of the text had all but given up and completely without contact with the outside world. And I've done that because I've noticed that there's this word all and there's this word completely, and I've identified them as adverbs. Yeah, I've interpreted the vocabulary, right? And I've added some kind of interpretation that it makes them feel detached and alone. And then this thing about the third person. So I, once again, am thinking about saying something about the use of the third person in the text. I've got quotes. I've identified a pronoun, a noun phrase, and I've tried to explain something about the way that the third person is used in newspaper report writing. So you can see from this level 3 answer that there is quite a bit more going on.